Looks like everybody is here that's going to be here, so we have a quorum. I guess the first item on the agenda, I guess I'll start by saying that this is my last meeting. I'll roll off after a long tenure on this commission. So I've enjoyed it and gotten to know a lot about the way that the city works and our planning process. And just want to say I really appreciate, Aaron, all your efforts and what you've been able to accomplish in your time as of running the ship. So excited about the staff that you've put together, and you guys have really are doing a great job. So thank you for all your work and the staff as well.
Well, thank you, Chairman, and thank you for your leadership for this group as well as just in the community. I know we're also excited that you're going to move to the Tiers Board, so we're very excited as that. So we're getting to keep your knowledge and stuff. But you've done great work here, and we hope to continue that with the Planning Commission and continue to help our community and citizens move forward with projects.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So with that, I guess the first item on our agenda is nominations for a new vice chair and chair. So I'll go ahead and open it up for nominations for a chairperson. I would like to nominate Brittany to step into the role of chair.
Second.
Any other nominations or discussion? All right, so we'll call for a vote on that for Brittany to step in as chairperson of the Planning Commission. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Congratulations.
All right. Is it official?
So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Brittany will take over now, right? As a
No, I don't think so.
okay.
All right. Well, on that note, we will go ahead and elect the vice chair, and I'd like to put a nomination in for Shane Mize, who I know some of you are not familiar with him, but with his past experience on multiple other committees through the city, on his volunteer work on some of our lot size rezonings and some other boards he's been a part of. I feel like he's a very strong candidate to be the vice chair of the committee. Can I have a...
Second.
Oh, thanks, Candy.
All right.
All right. Do we have any discussion or thoughts from the rest of the group? Okay. If there's no other comment, then we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? All opposed? None? All right, so Shane, congratulations, you're our new vice chair. Okay. So I'm going to present them, right? Do you skip that?
Go ahead. No. Public comment.
Okay, so at this point, we'll go ahead and open up public comment. Any issues or concerns not on the regular agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais, and begin by stating their name and single-member district or address. And please, we've got a lot of participants here today, so please limit your remarks to less than 3 minutes. Do we have any general public comment?
We do have one signed up, Louis Fawn, I believe.
I defer mine until item number 3 is coming.
Okay,
Okay.
then that is it, that has signed up.
Pardon? That is it. Okay, okay. So if there's no further public comment, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda may request for consent agenda item to be moved to the regular agenda for presentation and public comment. Otherwise, the consent agenda will be considered in one vote. All items in the consent agenda have been recommended by approval by staff with no opposition received to date. Since some of the items on the consent agenda may require public hearing, the commission will accept public comment on any item, the consent agenda, in one public hearing. So with that being said, oh. I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you. Okay, so with that, do we have any comments from Planning Commission on meeting minutes from November 17th? Okay, so can I have a vote, please, on approving?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
So,
Aye.
Okay.
I'm sorry, are we voting for the whole consent agenda item or just the one?
Oh, did you want me to read the whole thing in just as one? Okay, I'm sorry. So we're going to have a vote for the meeting minutes from November 17th, December 15th, and the third replat of Arden Acres Block 3, Section 3.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Well,
Aye.
before you do that, ma'am, Chair, be sure that we ask for public comment if there
Oh.
is any public comment on the consent items.
Sorry. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda?
No, there's not.
Okay, thanks. All right, we'll close public comment and go back to our motion to approve as presented. Oh. Is there a coffee pot out there? I know. We'll talk about botching the first one. Sorry, guys. All right. So we'll go ahead and we voted all in favor.
Aye.
So closing the consent agenda. Geez. Hopefully the rest of this meeting will go better, guys. Sorry. Ugh. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda, which is rezonings and the comprehensive plan amendments. City Council has the final authority for approval of rezonings and amendments to the comprehensive plan. Our first item is CP 25-03, East Avenue K in Dugan. This is SMD number 3. There's a request for approval of a comprehensive plan amendment for industrial to neighborhood center located west of the intersection of East Avenue K and Dugan.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. So this probably looks familiar. You received the rezoning last month. This is now the comprehensive plan amendment to go with the rezoning. It is East Avenue K and Dugan Street. Is that the west side corner? The neighborhood is Fort Concho, District 3, Harry Thomas. The current zoning is general heavy commercial. They requested to rezone to multifamily, low-rise residential. The vision plan is neighborhood center and industrial. So the request is to remove the industrial and just have the neighborhood center, which does support the low-rise multifamily. With that, we mailed out 25 notifications. We have not received any in favor or opposed. The left-hand side is the current zoning, which again, they had a rezone come forward last month for RM1, low-rise multifamily. And the right side is what we are changing. We're just going to bring over that neighborhood center to encompass the whole lots. So with that, staff looked at it and the proposed multifamily is compatible with the neighborhood center vision plan. There is a demonstrated need for more housing, and the multifamily development will act as a buffer. And I'm going to go back one. If you remember, this doesn't show it, but this area down here was just rezoned also to multifamily, and the comprehensive plan also was moved to neighborhood center. So with that, staff is recommending approval. Is there any questions?
Any questions? No. Thank you, Ray. Okay. So we'll go ahead from here and open up for public comment. Do we have any?
We will be the developer. Do I need to say what my single-member district is, all that stuff? Zane Willard, single-member district, what am I, 1? You sure about that? He always knows the details. So, yeah, so we're the ones that have done the one across the street on Avenue K, just doing single-family condos. So we have the ability, if we ever want to condo them out in the future, part of our vision over there is, I mean, it's just been an area that has had no life for a long period of time. If anybody hasn't driven by to see what we're doing, I think it's coming along and looking great over there. This will be something very similar right there, and we just request y'all's approval of it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Zane. Okay. Is that end of public comment? Okay. We'll go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or a vote from the commission.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented. Second.
Okay, motion by Shane, second by Lyndon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so it passes 7-0. Man, I do have a full party today. All right, so we will move on to our second item, which is Z 25-29, lots 1 through 33, Skyview Lane, which is SMD number 6. A request for a zone change from zero lot line, twin home and townhome residential, which is RS3, to low-rise multifamily residential, which is RM1 classification, located across 33 lots along Skyview Lane.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. So this is a rezone request. It is in the neighborhood Bluffs and District 6, Mary Coffee. The current zoning is RS3, which allows zero lot line, twin home, and townhome residential. The vision plan is neighborhood, and they are requesting to go to low-rise multifamily residential, RM1. The current plat and the current buildings that are there on a few of those lots are townhomes. I believe they are going to continue with townhomes. So it does fit in the low-rise multifamily because townhomes are allowed. We mailed out 15 notifications. It says 2 up there, and I have 2 more at my desk or at my chair. So there are 4 opposed. The current zoning is RS3, and then the vision plan is neighborhood. I did this one as a kind of a more overhead shot. So we usually like to think RM1 is a buffer between commercial and residential, and you see all that commercial down below. I'm also going to go back one. So FM 2288 is also a major arterial, and so again, staff believes RM1 is a buffer from a major highway before residential, and then the other side is a site picture. So with that, my analysis, I should have jumped ahead. So I already mentioned the major arterial and it acting as a buffer. And as far as I know, they don't plan on changing the housing type. They are just going for RM1, which does allow townhouses. We do believe that multifamily development is compatible because, again, it is so close to CG. It is along a major arterial that acts as a buffer to all those single-family homes in the back. So with that, staff is recommending approval. Is there any questions?
I just have a couple, just to clarify a few things. So you said that this tract is already platted, correct?
Correct.
So conceivably, I guess, if they were to want to come put, a larger dwelling on the property, like an apartment, they would have to replat?
Correct.
So the RM1 designation, I guess, just allows them to, what exactly does that accomplish?
I believe the applicant would like to have an STR,
Okay.
a short-term rental.
The option, I guess, for any of those? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, and then just for clarification for the public, Ray, in RM1 zoning, the applicant can have multiple STRs next to each other
The
as opposed to
500
within the
foot
500
buffer
foot.
does not apply.
And then, which they still have to do their hot tax and everything with the city, they just don't have to go through the additional steps.
They do not have to come here for conditional use.
Okay. And then in RS3, we follow a 500-foot rule? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you know if there are any short-term rentals within 500 feet right now of any of these?
There is not.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, Ray.
There is a lot of public comment for this one, so if you'll bear
Okay.
with me for just a minute.
Well, on that note, we will open this up to public comment. Again, please, we know that there's a lot of people with thoughts, but if we can limit our comments to 3 minutes or under, we greatly appreciate it.
Zane, do you want to go first, or you want to go after everybody?
Zang Willard, single member, District Number 1. The question about the 500 feet, would there be any other houses within 500 feet of here?
I'd have to, guess I'm not understanding the question.
So if it's only over 500 feet that you can have a short-term rental, would any of the other houses fall within 500 feet?
I'd have to measure,
Could we go
but-
back to the slide that shows the plat, please?
Oh, I have the clicker. Look
better
at that, I thought
reference.
ahead.
That's a great question, because I never really
It
thought about
is.
it that way.
Yeah, I believe a few on the end there are.
Okay, so the primary reason for going RM1 versus RS3, nothing will change in terms of the type of house we're building, it'll still be the same. We've had multiple inquiries for people looking to purchase them. They like the flexibility of having the STR by right, and the way I don't know the process, was that the planning commission, city council, whatever, by right, they've changed it now for if it's RM1, you can get that without having to come through planning commission and go through all the headaches in that regard. San Angelo's definitely got a shortage of high-quality rentals. If you look at the hotel motel occupancy right now, we said about 60%. That being said, if you go to I gotta be careful how I say it, the newer, nicer, higher quality hotels, they're at 100%. So when you go to the older ones that are built in let's just say before 2000, yeah, some of those aren't staying filled up on a regular basis, but when you go over there to behind Home Depot, they're $250 a night, 100% occupied. So the people that have purchased any of these that have STR ability, they're filling a demand for people that are traveling to San Angelo. A lot of them are traveling professionals that aren't staying there for 1 to 2 nights. They're staying for a week to 10 days. So we've got a pretty good demand for people looking for that kind of home that they can buy. That was the reason for the request to change it to RM1. That being said, we've also got several people that are looking at them for just, they want to live there. You know, they're smaller, they have a smaller yard, less maintenance, that type of thing. Any questions?
If you did short-term rentals there, which I know is not what we're talking about, but is there a certain number that you're thinking of?
Well, I wouldn't do any. So if you do, all we're doing by changing the RM1 zoning is if you buy one by right, you can come in, ask the permitting office to give you a permit. In that regard, you'll pay the hot tax and all the other thing. It keeps everybody legal and make sure that they do it the right way. I mean, we're just trying to make sure that they follow the rules.
So more of a sellability standpoint than
Correct.
necessarily your action.
No, not my
Right,
action.
right.
I'm still just a builder building it, but it gives, and I think we got several people here that have, they've expressed an interest. They bought some of them that have that zoning, and they know that it makes it a lot easier. It also makes it easier on the office up here, because they don't have to come in here and have to go through the turmoil of coming through here every time that you have to come ask for an STR permit in any neighborhood. That way, if anybody buys one before they purchase it, they're going to know that their neighbor could turn that into an STR. The best part about an STR, from what we've observed, is that you have to keep it nice, clean, yard mowed. There's, if you do a monthly rental, there's really no,
There's no incentive, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna rent it if it looks like trash.
yeah, correct.
Okay, Will Barnes?
Hello, I'm Will Barnes. I'm single member district number 1. Just wanted to talk on the RM1 rezone. In my opinion, I have investors that do have short-term rentals, and they love them, and they stay occupied. The people that stay there are usually there for a day or two. They're not there forever, but we do have some that want to have fully furnished that might be there a week, 10 days, up to 30 days, and then after that, of course, it's in a different deal. But I like the flexibility of RM1. It gives homeowners choice, and so that's what I'm for. So that's all I got.
Mickey McBroom?
Good morning. Mickey McBroom. I live on Burlington, right behind where all of these are being built. Got a couple of questions. If I can ask questions, I would appreciate to know. If not, I'll just sit down. The change from the previous zoning that we set in here last year and argued over and got a new zoning, and what we're changing to now, did I just hear that none of the buildings are going to change?
Correct.
Why does the number of lots look different? Maybe it's just the way it's looking to me, but is there less lots on the zoning versus the vision?
Oh, no.
So you're not looking to build more buildings?
I think you're just missing a couple address numbers.
Yeah, with where it
Okay.
says that.
Okay, I hope that was the case,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure because I gotta live there. Has anybody ever lived next to a short-term rental?
Yes.
Anybody? I have. It's not as nice as you say it is. It's a constant state of moving in, moving out, noise, changes every week. Yeah, it does, so you don't have to, if you got a bad renter, they're gone in a few days. But it's a transient environment. You never know what you're gonna get when you wake up on Monday morning. Would you like to have your house at 617 Burlington? Would that be something you'd be willing to retire to, live in for the next X years? I hear a lot of approval. The developer that spoke the last time we were here did a reasonably good job of talking to us when we're here, showed us pictures of what he wanted us to build, and then made a commitment to me that he would knock on my door the next week, and he would knock on every door in Burlington and make sure everybody was comfortable. It's the first time I've seen him. All he wants to do is build houses, collect his money, and then walk away. Let's be honest, everybody wants to make money. That's not good money. That's not to the good of San Angelo. It's not. So that's my opinion. Mark me as I do not approve. Thank you.
May I ask the applicant really quick, one question? Zane, do you mind coming to the podium? Okay. Behind Skyline, that's like a draw area, correct? Between where Skyline is, like your back row of homes, and then the homes that back that on Burlington, is that like a dry creek that comes down there, or what is that?
Yes, ma'am. If you come down Stratford, all the drainage off of Stratford comes up and goes down between the Skyview Street, and then it comes down between, when you see 601 and 2970, there's a little draw through there. And if you go to the cul-de-sac on Burlington, there's a pond over there where it all dumps into.
Okay. And then as far as type of fencing that is going to be erected, is it a 6-foot privacy fence on the back of your lots?
The ones on the FM 2288, we're just putting those up right now. They're putting 7-foot privacy fencing up right there. The ones on that side, they really go up to the kind of the edge of the bluff, and we hadn't decided what we do. There'd only be 10 foot between each house. There's really no backyard back there, so there's no place for anybody to stand or hang out back there. We'll probably either do a wall or a 7-foot privacy fence, so that's
Okay.
kind of the design. And when we were here last time, that's what we talked about. Try to keep most of the windows where they face, because there's zero lot line. You only can have windows on the side that's not the zero lot side, so.
Okay. So as far as there's not a patio off the upper story of the back overlooking anything, or, and
No.
as you mentioned, it's going to be side yard, not rear yard? Is that
Correct.
Okay. Did anyone have any other questions while Zane's up? Okay. And then, thank you, Zane. Yes, sir, if you'd like to come back to the podium. Zane, did you specify it was going to be a 7-foot privacy
Yeah.
fence? So is that a wood construction?
Yeah, wood at this point, I mean, we could go back, we've done several of them where we did these on the zero lot line, where we come in there, we'll do like a brick fence between them. My preference is, if I can afford to do it, is to do anything that's stone, brick, something like that. It just, if you drive around San Angelo, and if you drive through the bluffs, probably the biggest eyesore, in my opinion, this is just an opinion, is the fencing, you know. cedar fences in San Angelo, Texas, don't last very long. We have pretty extreme conditions. Last week it was 10, and here in 3 weeks it'll be 110. So they just, they don't last very long. So if I can do a brick fence, a stone fence, something like that, that's what I'll do. I don't know for sure that it'll work over there, but if we can, that would be my preference on those. From anybody that lives in the bluffs, the only way they'd ever see anybody is if they were standing at the back between that 10-foot gap. Otherwise, they're going to be up on the top, away from them. There's a pretty good buffer in terms of if somebody's coming or going, they're just not going to know it.
Okay, thank you.
And Chairwoman, I just want to remind everybody, we are just talking about the zoning.
Yes.
Zoning cannot be conditioned, and so we can't obligate the property owners to do any certain things within the zoning.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, do we have additional public comment?
Louis Fawn, was this the one you wanted, or the next one? Next one, okay. Then, nope, we are done.
Okay. On that note, I will go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or a vote from, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, sorry, I'm so sorry. Was he signed up? Okay. I'm sorry, sir. You didn't make the list, so I didn't mean to cut you off there. If you could state your name and single member.
I'm David Duncan. I live out in the Bluffs, and also I own this property that's within this notification zone right here.
Is that Alapul?
Also, I'm one of the people involved in developing the Bluffs for the last 30 years, or yeah, more than that really, since 1985. And I wanted to here just point out that the nature of that Burlington strip right there has been always pretty private. Though a lot of people don't realize it, but those ponds are not public property. They're private property. We have signs that say private property, no trespassing. As a practical matter, I mean, there are over 1,000 people that live out there, and it's for the benefit of people that live out there. Nobody, I don't know who, I wouldn't know if somebody's lives out there or not driving by, and the people that live there don't care either as long as they don't cause any problems. And my name is actually on that, David Duncan trustee, but I don't own it. The reason I'm a trustee on it is that Philip, who owns it, Duncan, actually wants me to kind of keep the peace out there. So if I get a call from somebody that lives out there, I go down and look. I generally call the police, and because it's private property, I don't have to have any reason whatsoever to ask them to leave the property. And the people like it that way, and they don't want it public, because if it was public, you couldn't do that. Now, actually, the point I'm here to make is that if you go out there and look and walk along the back of where this is going to be built, and I don't really have any objection to it being built there, except that this property towers above the bottom below it, the part below it, and it's very close. I mean, if it's not 500 feet, I don't know if that was even, I'm deaf too, so I don't. But I would suggest here, and I would like very much for the people who live out there and the people who are building this to come to an accommodation and that the thing be a great success. But I would propose that they consider the people who are developing it, who I think are very good. And I realize you can't make modifications on this, but possibly they can come to an agreement with the people who live out here, is to restrict the line of sight from anything that comes above there so you can't see below, say, the top of the roofs below. There are swimming pools down there. I guess one thing I'm saying is that this is, if that allows another story especially, does it allow another story, a third story?
No, it's low rise, sir, so two.
Just 2 stories?
Just 2.
Well, then it would make it easier to do that, with a fence, with whatever it takes to restrict that line of sight from the windows and the patios or whatever there is in the back of those buildings.
Ray, could we reflect back on the
reasonable.
one photo you had? I think the unit was green. There it is.
Because otherwise, it's going to change the nature of that neighborhood, and it's also going to hurt their privacy.
So if I'm looking at this right, the back of that unit, is that backing 2288? Okay, so, and are there windows on the back of that? From what the applicant stated, I believe they're just on the side and the front, correct?
And I would say this too, that, I mean, as a developer, sometimes I would have an accommodation, but something would come before us, a commission of some type here. And I would agree that if I owned it, would restrict it for at least as long as I'm alive. I can't go past that because I'm not the only owner out there. But I would put it in writing with them, like I won't do this or I will do that, restrict the line of sighting, even if it isn't an official thing, would give some comfort to those people who live down below. I'm just suggesting that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do we have any other public comment? No? Okay, on that note, we'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for discussion or a vote within the committee.
Yes, I would. Ray, you said you had other opposing information. Could you share that with us?
They just marked the opposed box.
Okay.
613 Burlington Road and 615 Burlington.
Okay. But no comments on?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And again, just, keep in mind, Commission, all this is a zone change. It's not changing the physical structures that the developer's planning on putting on the property. Those already fall under the RS3 current zoning classification. This is only just to move to RM1 for resaleability.
I'd be curious to know, sorry, I never remember to turn that on. I'd be curious to know if the remaining opposing neighbors are worried about the STRs, the short-term rentals, versus the construction of the actual property.
So, and keep in mind, again, in RS3, you can have STR. You just have to go to the planning commission,
Right,
fill
just
out the
not be-
correct applications,
I think maybe
et cetera.
that's what my question would be, is are they worried about multiple STRs? Having, let's say I bought 7 of those lots and I turned all 7 of them into an STR.
So I don't know 100%, but just looking on my phone, it looks like you could probably have about 2 right now with the 500 feet distance. So, I mean, right now, there's already allowed 2 on opposing ends, as long as, one of the people on that backing road did not have one. I don't remember the name now. Burlington, right.
To me, I think when you look at the location of this piece of land and just the shape of it and the kind of just natural restrictions that there are as far as what you could do with it, it's pretty limiting, and it fronts an arterial road. It's very close to quite a bit of commercial development, and so I think a residential, maybe higher intensity residential area makes sense, and I think what has been developed there already and is not necessarily going to change, just maybe the allowable uses in that are probably the most ideal use of that land for the surrounding neighborhood. The biggest question is going to RM1 and allowing, basically unlimited STRs, and there's obviously a lot of different opinions on that in the community, and we've had a lot of those discussions over the years and what the impact of that is on the surrounding area. But I think it's a good use of the land. I don't think that there's anything that we can do as a planning commission to condition this or add anything, but just as a practical matter, I mean, I'll just encourage Zane to reach out to the surrounding community and just kind of, as a olive branch to, let everybody understand kind of what's going there. I think they're going to be, as far as I can tell, I mean, very nice looking, well-built houses, and it'll be a good addition to the area. But I think it's always good to have the surrounding neighbors in your court, and instead of maybe having them have some opposition. So back to Mr. Duncan's comments, I think maybe trying to reach some kind of a consensus and understanding with the neighbors would be good. And that's just a personal recommendation. I don't think there's anything we can do from the planning commission standpoint as far as that goes, but it's always nice to see the neighborhood come together.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I have a question maybe for staff. I mean, really, this is within rights to do such, to rezone and all that. If we oppose, I mean, we'd have to have some sort of valid reason, correct?
So whatever recommendation you guys do today then goes to city council. City council has 2 readings to do it, and then has final authority. So we take your recommendation and let them know. Possibly with the amount of opposition and your recommendation, it would probably have a supermajority vote at city council require.
Okay, so the public has another chance to come and talk another 2 times about this, even if it does pass today?
Correct.
Just so they know, okay.
Okay. That's a great question. Thank you. All right, any more thoughts?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay, motion from Shane,
Second.
second from Liz. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? No? Okay. All right. Passes 7-0. Okay, item number 3, Z25-30 Century Park Edition, Track 2, which is SMD number 1, a request for approval of a zone change from neighborhood commercial to low-rise multifamily RM1 zoning district for a 1.17 acre property at the intersection of South Bryant Boulevard and Century Drive.
Austin Reed, Senior Planner. This one comes to you out of the Rio Vista neighborhood. It is District Number 1, Tommy Heber's district. The vision plan says that this is commercial. The property is a little bit over an acre, and what we have, as you mentioned, is a request for a zone change from neighborhood commercial CN to low-rise multifamily. So we did send out 10 notices as we were required to on this. We did not receive any official responses. We had some nearby property owners who were asking questions, but they didn't return in support or opposed. So here's a look at our zoning and our vision plan. On our left-hand side here, we have the zoning map. You can see that this pocket of neighborhood commercial is surrounded by a mix of zoning districts. Across the road, we have general commercial, heavy commercial, and then down there is CGCH. And then we have some mostly undeveloped ranch and estate down there to the south, and then to the east, right down Century, is some more existing multifamily zoning. As you can see in the vision plan, this is pretty much entirely commercial. On to our rationale, we do think it's compatible with the surrounding area. It's located on a major thoroughfare, that's South Bryant there, and it's surrounded by a mix of commercial and other residential, and there's existing multifamily down the road, as you just saw. We do think that this would help towards a demonstrated community need for multifamily housing, and there should be no adverse effects on the natural environment. So with that, we are recommending approval. Do you guys have any questions?
All right, thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
On that note, we'll open up for public comment. Do we have anyone speaking right now?
Zane.
Popular guy today, Zane.
Yeah, you bet. Zane Willard, single member, District Number 1. Have y'all read this?
Yeah.
The San Angelo Residential Housing Study 2024 update. I highly recommend it. So I run around town looking for these little oddball pieces of property that just have had no value for a long period of time. I love your comment. We have one going on Waco Street right now, and the lady next door to us opposed us. She then came to us after we've got them standing up, and she's wanting to buy one because she realizes how nice they are, what they've done to improve the value of her property, and she just didn't understand it. She's like, she went down the street. We did some on Houston Street that were, we did a little thing online. We had 43,528 views in 24 hours. I had over 300 phone calls, people wanting to buy these things. Because this little study right here, basically all it says is that our city needs to allow more flexibility, less myopic thinking about doing it the old way we've always done it, and make it more affordable. It's the number one driving factor that hurts any community. So we're trying to create affordable housing. So this little property right here that's in question, It's along Bryant Boulevard. We've asked for RM1. Once again, we can sell it for single-family home. It'll be a zero lot construction, but it's one plat, condensed. Mr. Fawn's gonna get up here and speak in a minute. Y'all are gonna love listening to him. He's an attorney, so he's very articulate. But he bought this about 30 years ago. He's been trying to sell it for 30 years. I'm the first person that's ever wanted to buy it. I mean, we're trying to turn something into something of value. It helps everybody. It creates work. It creates taxes for the city, ensures everybody has a job, creates prosperity, and it provides housing. And so, long-term, you also have the added benefit of all the workers have to come maintain things. So, I kind of went on a little rabbit hole right there. But this thing right here, for those that haven't read it, it ought to be, hey, for all new members, you ought to give them a copy of this. Because I ask that question a lot, and a lot of times people don't even know it exists. I don't know what it costs, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap. And it is very, very good and valuable information. I go to it all the time. And so, any questions of me about this one right here?
No.
Because I can stand up here and talk about this all day long. This is what I like to do. Thank you all.
Thank you, Zane. All right.
All right, Louis Fawn.
Good morning, friends. I've been an attorney in San Angelo over 50 years. And I've had this property for like 25 years or so. Zane Willard did not approach me to buy this property. I sought him out. And the reason I did was driving through around San Angelo like I do every day, I see the same things that y'all see, no matter what streets you drive up and down. And I kept seeing these rows of very nice, newly constructed houses that I thought were really crisp and clean. And I thought, that's what I'd like to have on Century Park. So I stopped there and I walked through some of those under construction, and I looked at I found the sign advertising that subdivision, and I took a photograph so that I could give a call to whoever these people are that are building these houses. So I made the call and I spoke to Zane, and I said, what's going on? Tell me about these houses. I've walked through them and they're top flight construction. And I got to talking to him, and he said, well, yeah, I'd like to take a look at that. Well, it wasn't properly zoned for what I was wanting to do with it, because I'm as civic-minded and as spirited as all of you are. I want our city to do well. I want nice things in our city. And every one of these houses that Zane and Dee Dee have built are just top flight. And I thought, that makes our property look better. I don't want a strip center at that place. I want my neighbors to be happy with it, because that whole neighborhood is multifamily and single-family dwellings that are of great quality. If you drive through Century Park, you will see a subdivision that we can be proud of. And it's been that way ever since they've built it. So if I drive by there and I see some of the houses that Zane and Dee Dee are going to build, I'm going to be very happy about it. I think you all will be too, because it's going to really add to the visual aspects of our community. And I hope that y'all will improve it. Thank you. Do y'all have questions for me?
Any questions? No? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you showing up today.
Thank y'all very much.
That's it.
All right. On that note, we'll go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All right. Motion by Lyndon, second by Candy.
Y'all are fast on that button.
I know. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes 7-0. Okay, our next case, Z 25-31, 1805 South Bryant Boulevard. Request for zone change from general heavy commercial and light manufacturing to general commercial zoning district at 1805 South Bryant Boulevard.
Thank you. Austin Reed, Senior Planner. This request comes to you from the Rio Vista neighborhood again. This one is District Number 3, Harry Thomas's district. The vision plan says that this is commercial, and the property here is about 0.75 acres. What we have, as you mentioned, is a request for a zone change from a mix of light manufacturing and CGCH to low-rise multifamily. So we sent out 14 notices, did not receive any official responses. Once again, we had some surrounding property owners who were asking questions, but they didn't return anything. So here's a look at our zoning and our vision plan. On the left here, you can see that mix of light manufacturing zoning and the CGCH zoning. Both of those have probably been there for a very long time, but we know that this functions as commercial and not so much manufacturing. The vision, as you can see, is entirely commercial up and down the South Bryant Boulevard corridor. On our rationale, we do think it's compatible with the surrounding area. Of course, it's located on a major thoroughfare, and it's surrounded by existing commercial businesses. The South Bryant corridor is a needed and longstanding commercial area of the city, and there should be no immediate adverse effects on the natural environment. So with that, we are recommending approval. Do you guys have any questions about this?
Any questions for Austin?
The building that's on it right now, what is it being used as?
I'm not aware of it being used for anything, and I'm not aware of what the applicant's intentions are either. I think this is really just kind of a cleanup case to kind of make way for whatever they want to do with the land or that existing building.
I think it's where Old Pit was, right? Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's restaurant on either side of it, and then this is the pad side, I guess, where the restaurant was previously, and then access from Avenue N behind it.
And but the other structure
The building at
on
the,
that,
yeah, the building at the back has had some occupancy. I think a real estate agency had it there for, well, I'm not sure that it's occupied at the moment, though.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Austin? No? All right, thank you,
y'all.
Austin.
Thank you.
Go ahead and open up public comment.
I do not have anybody signed up.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or a vote.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion by Liz, second by Luke. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 7-0. So our next case is Z 25-32 and CP 25-04, 3089 East FM 2105, which is SMD number 4. A request for zone change from ranch and estate to heavy manufacturer zoning, in a comprehensive plan amendment from neighborhood center to industrial located at 3089 East FM 2105.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. So this is a rezone request with a comprehensive plan amendment. The neighborhood is Paul Ann, District 4, Patrick Keeley. It is currently zoned R&E, and the vision plan is industrial with the neighborhood center at the very top corner right here. So they are requesting to rezone from R&E to heavy manufacturing with a comprehensive plan amendment from neighborhood to neighborhood center to industrial. This is the lot right above the landfill, and it is on the edge of the city. So with that, we mailed out 12 notices. We have not heard back in favor or opposed. Again, the zoning on the left, ranch and estate, and then the vision plan on the right. It is mostly industrial, which will fit the rezoning. And so we are trying to move the vision plan to include that corner that's neighborhood center. The vacant lot at the moment, so that is a picture. The subject area is entirely undeveloped, and it's located right along the city limits. To the south is the landfill. There are some manufacturing businesses already around it, so in a light or heavy manufacturing zoning is compatible with the area. The industrial type development, we believe, will continue expanding in that direction, and we do not believe there's any adverse environmental effects. So with that, staff is recommending approval from ranch and estate to heavy manufacturing, and then a comprehensive plan amendment of neighborhood center to industrial. Is there any questions?
Can you go back to the vision plan slide?
And Ray, this is the area that they have the future expansion of the rail port, is that correct?
Correct.
And the rail port's directly to the west of this?
To the west. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, any questions for staff? Yes.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Where is 208 to that? I'm trying to envision where that is, like Highway 208. If you're looking at that.
I believe
It's further west.
Further west.
So this is between 208 and 277 as far as north-south. This is just north of, you can see Old Ballinger Road that would connect into 277, just north of the landfill area. And you can see the railroad that goes up there and stops about FM 2105 into our railport area.
And then, Ray, with the neighborhood center up in the top corner, what was the rationale for that?
Neighborhood center is always put at an intersection, thinking that it would lead out to neighborhoods and it would kind of act as a buffer.
Okay.
And our master thoroughfare plan, Covington and the other road that I'm not going to try to attempt to say its name, starts with an S there. Those are classified as major roads. They're not built that way today, but that was the intent back in 2003 when the master thoroughfare plan and the vision plan came through. But as you know, we're getting ready to get into our comp plan revisions, and this will be an area that we re-examine to see if neighborhood center makes sense.
Okay, so with that, with the rezoning, does that trigger anything on having road width change or nothing at this point?
Nothing today. That would be a plat process, and it'd have to be a final plat process.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Ray?
What are all those properties north of Modal being utilized for? Is that?
These right here?
Yeah.
A few of them are homes, but there's a couple that are farm, agricultural.
Okay.
That's all I know.
This is city-owned property, correct?
Correct. So the city limits kind of goes around it. There, everything on the side is not in city limits.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ray. And then, do we have any public comment on this one? Okay, so go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Luke, second by Shane. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7-0. On that note, we'll move on to subdivision plats. The Planning Commission has final authority to approve. Appeals may be directed to City Council. Our first case today we'll hear is PP 25-05, South Plains La Mesa Rail Park, which is SMD number 4. A request for preliminary plat of 316.987 acres to create 2 lots. Lot 1 being 247.442 acres, and Lot 2 being 61.943 acres. South Plains La Mesa Rail Park under Ranch and Estate zoning and located at 3089 East FM 2105.
So this is going to look familiar, really familiar. We just discussed it. So we just did the rezone. This is now for a preliminary plat. The city is looking at breaking it into 2 different lots. So this is a Pauline neighborhood, District 4, Patrick Keeley. It is currently zoned R&E with the zone change request that you just had, and the vision plan is industrial and neighborhood center. They are requesting to preliminary plat it into 2 lots. Again, ranch and estate, industrial and neighborhood for a vision plan. And this is the preliminary plat. The city is going to keep Lot 2 and I believe is looking at selling Lot 1. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the preliminary plat. There are no conditions on this preliminary plat. There are no road improvements. Final platting is what would trigger all the road improvements and utilities and that type of stuff.
Okay. Perfect. Any questions?
It looked like on the survey or the plat, there's a road on the east side. Is that
Covington
Is
Road.
that Covington?
There's Shortner and then there's Covington, right?
The Shortener? I think it goes to the lot next to it. So, okay, I was just making sure this city's not landlocking itself.
Nope.
No, and there's 50th to the south, and the city is dedicating the right-of-way through this plat for future improvements. The other thing to notice on there, there's a 5-acre utility easement at the top. While we don't have any utilities there at this time, we are looking to the future that is a possible site for any elevated storage for water if necessary, a 5-acre site, or if there's other items that need for utilities on this site in the future.
With this track being somewhat close to the railway, did we have to get any approval through the rail commission or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay, thank you, Ray.
And-
Do we have public comment?
Blake, if you want to say anything? No? He is here if you have questions.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for Blake on this? No? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment, open for discussion or a vote.
Move to approve?
Okay. Motion by Luke, second by Lyndon, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7-0. FP 25-28, San Angelo Coliseum Edition, which is SMD number 2. A request for final plat of 138.72 acres within the San Angelo Coliseum Edition, being lots 1 through 7, in a planned development zoning district located generally at 50 West 43rd Street and 4600 Grape Creek Road. A variance request for the block length for the eastern side of Grape Creek Road, and a variance request for the maximum length allowed on dead-end streets.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Aaron Vanoy, Planning and Development Services Director. So as you know, the Coliseum had a bond election this last year. They are through with their review of their building permit and getting ready to pull that and construction to get started. One of the things that was triggered was to replat or plat the properties. The properties have not ever been platted, but there's been lots of development out there. And you can see with the red lines, what the city is trying to do is go ahead and take care of a number of the properties around the Coliseum area and get them platted. You did hear the variances, and we'll go over those in just a few moments, but this is 138 acres. It's under a planned development for the zoning, and is generally located at 50 West 43rd and 4600 Grape Creek Road. It is SMD number 2, Mr. Joe Self, and this is in the Lakeview neighborhood. So I turned this, which is maybe not all that helpful, but down here is East 43rd, so this is a southern boundary. Over here is Grape Creek, which is going to be the eastern boundary. 50th or Lakeview Heroes Drive, right here is the northern boundary. And then, of course, then there's these individual properties that are internal to the site. Starting here with lot number 6, that is primarily a stormwater detention area. This lot number 5 is what used to be called the Red Barn, but is now leased to ASU for their rodeo program. Lot number 4 is owned by the Rodeo Association. Then the city owns lot number 3, as well as this large lot here. And then there's a lot right down here that fronts this area right here where Cuero Street comes through and comes up and touches these lots that are internal. It does touch lot number 4, and it does touch lot number 5. And it has the required fire prevention turnaround right there. So to talk about the variances, one of the variances is this is a dead end longer than 750 feet. It does have the emergency turnaround. And the reason why we are requesting a variance for this is a large parking lot. Here to the south, this is not the image that you see the parking lot on, but we'll go back to that in just a moment. But if there is an emergency and 750 feet and you're trying to get people out, there are multiple ways out of these properties. Obviously, this has a parking lot that you can actually come back to 43rd and have multiple exits on 43rd. So if something happened down in this area, you are still able to get out. That is usually the reason why in our subdivision ordinance, the variance for 750 feet is you're landlocked. You don't have other ways to get out. So that's why the city is seeking a variance for that. Grape Creek, this was improved, I want to say around 2011, 2012. It does go longer than our block length. Our block length is 2,200 linear feet. You can see on the eastern side, we do have roads that come off, but between Lakeview Heroes Drive and 43rd on the eastern side, there are no streets, no public streets. Again, that is for circulation of vehicles. Fortunately, this again has lots of parking lots that have connections and areas that you can egress out if necessary. And so at this time, the city believes that a variance is warranted to not have a street cut through this large property that's not going to really make a strong connection for circulation for vehicles, particularly for the nature of this lot being the Coliseum, the fairgrounds, and the stock show area. You really don't want a lot of people just driving their general traffic through that area. Here it is with the structures outlined on there. You can see the Coliseum and the associated barns. You can see that we did reserve some area back here for future utilities and our current utilities, so that they do have their own separate lot back there. Again, here's our vision plan. We did come through with a rezoning with those 4 lots on the right. They are part of the plan development now. With that, city staff is recommending approval of the San Coliseum addition and approval of both variances. We do have a number of conditions that are standard. Again, if there are any necessary utility, wastewater, sewer services to send to those properties, that those would be done. We are going to submit a drainage study and make any required improvements, or really a revised drainage study for the area. The street improvement to Cuero Street, that's that dead-end street, we are seeking a deferral. It currently has some asphalt on it and is functioning very well for the use that it is. Although it was dedicated years ago as a public street, this plat kind of rededicates it. We are seeking a deferral to add that into one of our capital improvement programs over the next decade to see when we can actually get it paved with curb and gutter at that time. Same with the next deferral. And with Lakeview Heroes Drive, there's a portion of it at the north end that is narrower than the remaining part, and we are looking to add that into our capital improvement program as well over the next decade, and are seeking a deferral to trigger that at that time. The sidewalks on 43rd Street, we are seeking a deferral, but if some of you may remember, about a week to 2 weeks ago, there was an announcement that our Operations and Public Works Department received a grant to do sidewalks and streetscapes in this area. They are going to be taking care of that portion of this when they get up to that area as well. And then the last thing, which is a typical note for our plats, is add a hydrant where necessary, if there's any hydrant. There are hydrants on the site. It really would be if there's any new development or projects that come out there that they may need to add a hydrant, but it's a typical comment that we have. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm going to go back to maybe that one.
I just have one question on the deferrals. How's that noted on the plat so that it is captured in the future, that is a requirement?
It is a separate document that is a contract that we do, that it gets filed with the plat down at the county. And so anytime anybody pulls the plat or that information, that information is there, that it's a requirement. We also put this in our land file, and so any one of those property IDs that pops up, it will show that it has a deferral and refers back to the plat, so that the city staff can go back and look at that deferral agreement and see what the requirements are.
There will be a time limit, I guess, in that deferral of some type, or
Yes,
some
sir.
type of triggering event that will?
Yes, we are planning on doing it with the capital improvement program, or a time limit of 10 years.
Okay.
Now, I have a question, and maybe it's a dumb one, but why didn't we think about this with the bond if we knew this was all going to trigger? Why wasn't all of this rolled in?
I'm not sure I know that answer. We knew about it in development once they turned in the site plan and showed that the Coliseum was going to be expanded more than 5,000 square feet, which triggers our subdivision ordinance. And so then we are trying to find a way to work through it so that it doesn't increase costs, because the cost for those road improvements could be very, very significant and could cause part of the bond not to go to be utilized for the actual improvements of the Coliseum. And this is a city request, and so the city is actually taking the responsibility of this, where the Rodeo Association is taking care of the responsibility of the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
So on the deferral on the Cuero Street, the fire marshal's fine with the current width, and as far as if there's potholes or anything like that, they don't see any issue getting vehicles up there if they needed to?
Correct, and it's hard to tell on such a zoomed out area, But from about right here down is all pavement, all the way back, include getting to that property. We are trying to straighten out this intersection. While this actually has pavement underneath it, our operations department comes in and they do some minor maintenance in that area. But I know that our fire marshal may still be in our audience. To date, they have not made any mention about accessibility. Again, there are multiple ways to assess this property by coming through if they needed to, but this would be a dedicated street that we would not expect anybody parking on and things like that. We will stripe the parking lot there to show the hammerhead, those types of things for the improvement.
So it goes up farther than what's in this photo, that road easement of
It goes right up to this property right here, and I'm going to turn off you can see that it goes to that property. That gives that property direct and abutting access, where the property to the north actually touches 50th Street. The reason being, this is the outdoor arena, and they have a little service entrance here for maintenance and stuff, but they really don't want that. We really don't want that as a dedicated street. There's just not enough room through there unless we went through and demoed some area, which would impact this outdoor arena significantly.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron. Any other questions for Aaron? Okay. On that note, we'll open it up for public comment.
Russell Gully.
All right. Morning, Russell.
Good morning, Russell with SKG. Aaron did such a great job. I really don't have anything else to add other than to ask for your approval of the variances as requested, and would happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Russell? No?
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Russell. Okay. And then just again for clarification, as far as the deferrals the city is seeking, those will be notated on essentially an addendum that goes with the plat, giving the ability to defer for up to 10 years.
Yes, ma'am. We have an official contract that we do, so if any developer that comes through, that's part of the ordinance, they could seek a deferral, and we do that contract with them. We have to show what it would cost and things like that, and then we put that with the filed plat as well as with our land files.
Okay, and sometimes, when a developer seeks some deferrals, every once in a while, to my understanding, they have to put up some monetary concessions for this. Is the city required to do that?
That is up to our city engineering department. They're the ones that work through that process to see what would be needed to be put up for that.
Okay. All right, thank you, Aaron. All right, on that note, if no one has any other questions, we'll open up for discussion between our commission or a vote.
Make a motion to approve as presented by staff.
Second.
All right, motion by Liz, second by Shane, all in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Okay, so our next cases, are we reading these all three together?
Yes, 3, 4, and 5, I think it is.
And then Shane is going to have to recuse himself for these, so our commission will be down to 6 voting members. And then just really quick, Austin, when we're reading these in and taking votes, are they 3 separate votes?
It will be 3 separate
Three
motions,
separate votes,
but I
okay.
ask that the preliminary goes first.
Okay. All right, so PP 25-06 Day Edition Preliminary Plat, SMD number 2, a request for approval of preliminary plat for lot 11, or sorry, for lot 11 lots, over 3.928 acres between 30th and 31st Street within the RS1, RS2, and RS3 zoning districts.
Thank you. Austin Reed, Senior Planner. We are presenting these 3 cases together, which includes a preliminary plat and 2 final plats, all for the Day Edition. The preliminary plat covers sections 1 and 2, 11 lots in total, almost 4 acres. This is District Number 2, Joe Self's district in the Lakeview neighborhood. The zoning here is a mix of RS1, RS2, and RS3, and the vision plan says that this should be neighborhood. So the final plat is kind of the lower portion of this subdivision. It includes 10 lots there along 30th Street for 1.2 acres. And then the district and neighborhood is the same. The zoning for this section is entirely RS2. Vision plan is again neighborhood. Section 2 is the upper portion of this subdivision, and it is one big lot over 2.6 acres with most of the same information. The zoning on this section is the mix of RS1, 2, and 3. So here's a look at that preliminary plat. You can see how this is subdivided. It's between 30th, 31st, and then Travis Street is there off to the east. This is section 1, which is those 10 lots along 30th. And then this is section 2 with the one big lot on that East 31st Street cul-de-sac. So here is our zoning and vision. On the left-hand side here, we have the zoning. You can see that mix of residential zoning districts that I was talking about. Within the RS2 area, they will be able to either build single-family homes or two-family homes, whichever they desire, on those 10 individually subdivided lots. And then for the vision, we have neighborhood. The zoning for the upper portion, the one big lot, right now it is a mix of zoning districts. We think it may be their intention to come through with some zone change in the future, but of course that would have to come to y'all. Look at the thoroughfare, East 30th, 31st, and Travis Street are all local roads, and they do all meet our standards, so there were no variances requested or necessary in this case. And so with that, we are recommending approval of the preliminary plat. We are recommending approval of Section 1 final plat, subject to the following 6 conditions. 1 is for a drainage study. 2 is for your water and wastewater service lines. 3 is for the installation of a sewer main. 4 is for fire hydrant and fire access statement on the plat. 5 are sidewalks along East 30th Street, as it is right next to SAISD property. And then number 6 is to receive approval of the preliminary plat first. Section 2, we are also recommending approval for most of the same conditions: drainage study, service lines, the fire statement, sidewalks, and then again to receive approval of the preliminary plat first. So you will need 3 separate motions on this. Do you guys have any questions?
No. Has the applicant stated anything regarding sidewalks yet?
No.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on our first case for Austin? No? Okay, you're gonna keep reading the next one, or you want us to vote on that one?
This was all 3. This was the presentation
gosh,
for the
sorry.
preliminary and the 2 finals. That's okay.
So if we don't have any questions for Austin, we'll open up for public comment.
Thank you.
Blake?
Good morning. My name is Blake with Wilde Engineering and Surveying. We don't have any comments except for anything just on the sidewalk requirement. We're just curious what's triggering that.
That'll be the school property there to the west.
Yeah, it's not actively being used as a school. It's not even on their district website as a school, so I'm just curious why that is being triggered.
I think when we looked it up, like, it was under the tax roll still as a school, because that was my biggest question, because
Yeah, well, we're just trying to make sure it's just, if it has to be done according to the ordinance, I mean, it'll have to, but if it doesn't have to, we're just
There is a
asking.
waiver process, and I believe this property in the past has gone through a waiver process in the
Right.
past. But anytime new development comes in, we have to start again. And so, but if that's something that they are able to ask for a waiver through that process.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's all we're looking for, is just a waiver on the sidewalks there. So, any other questions or anything? Everything else looks good to us.
Okay. Any questions from Blake and the commission? Do you guys want to bring up your requirements again, please?
So there will be no conditions on the preliminary, but in the final plats will have conditions.
Okay. All right. So we're closed public comment because Blake was our only speaker. So from the commission, I'd ask for either discussion or if somebody wants to make a motion.
I make a motion of the preliminary plat, to approve the preliminary plat.
Okay. Oh, yes, because we're doing 3. Okay.
Oh, second.
Okay. So first on the prelim plat from Liz and Luke, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6-0. And then on the final plat items?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, first, and that's keeping sidewalks in the plat?
Yeah, at this stage, the planning commission does not have the ability
To
through ordinance
defer.
to waive that.
Okay. Okay, so first from Lyndon, second from Luke, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6-0. All right, we'll move on to conditional uses.
Wait, I think we
Did
got
I
it.
miss one?
I'll make a
Number
motion
Sorry,
for
geez.
FP 25-30 to approve as
Sorry, I thought we
presented.
I'll
did this
second.
in the same one. Man, on you guys. Next month will be better. Okay. So we'll go ahead and end that as far as a 6-0 vote from the commission on FP 25-29.
We have to vote on the third one. He made a motion, I
I thought you
seconded
just
it.
voted on that one.
No, we had a motion and a
Motion,
second.
sorry.
on the third.
Jeez. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that one passes 6-0 on FP 25-30. All right, so we'll move on to conditional uses. The Planning Commission has final authority for approval of conditional uses. Appeals may be directed to City Council. The first case we'll hear, can somebody get Shane back in? Okay, thank you. Sorry, started without you. Okay, the first case is CU 25-19, which is 1414 North Chadron, SMD number 3. Request for conditional use to allow household living in the general heavy commercial zoning and general commercial zoning districts for property located at 1414 North Chadburn.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Arden, planner. This is our conditional use. It's in the Reagan neighborhood in Harry Thomas's district. As stated, this is general commercial and general/heavy commercial zoning districts. Vision is neighborhood split with neighborhood center, and we have a request from an applicant who is looking to obtain a change of occupancy for household living. They had to come to us to get a conditional use before they can move forward with their building permit. So we were required to send out 18 notices. I do not have any responses so far. This was submitted to us with the build permit. The applicants are with the religious institution. They currently have a ministry to house displaced people, but it's currently undergoing renovations. And so they are looking to use lots 5 and 6 of the property that they own to house 2 displaced women due to the floods in the interim of that renovation. So this was their concept plan that they submitted. To speak specifically, we talked earlier, I showed the outline of the property owned by the applicants. This is the building specifically that they're looking to utilize for the conditional use. So I'm clarifying that that's lots 5 and 6 of the plat. Right here, we've got zoning and vision maps. So there's the split between general commercial/heavy and general commercial. And then over in the vision map, we've got neighborhood center split with neighborhood. As staff was looking at this, we were recognizing that the surrounding area to the east, is 2-family residential. I'll go back. We can see that we have kind of a commercial corridor along Chadburn that services that residential area next door, and it's 2-family residential, slightly higher density, and the applicants are looking to utilize this space for household living. Staff sees that as a good use of a buffer between the commercial uses to the west and the residential to the east. While this is also not specifically stated in the ordinance, the housing study that was mentioned previously, as well as a bill that was brought before the Senate recently, both state the value of allowing religious institutions to have household living by right, as well as a demonstrated community need for household living in general. So looking at all of those factors, staff wants to recommend approval for household living in the general commercial and general/heavy commercial zoning districts located at 1414 North Chadburn, subject to 3 conditions. The first is that we limit it to those lots with the existing property, the existing building currently on it. So it's not the entire ministry that's allowed household living, but only that one building. We would like to require a maximum of 2 residential units to mirror the 2-family residential surrounding it. And we also would like for the conditional use to not be considered valid until the applicants receive approval of their change of occupancy, and for that to be done within the next 6 months. Are there any questions for staff?
Can you go back to the floor plan that was submitted, please? Okay. So obviously, like, there's probably some additional fire code that's going to be required? Any other, like, do they have to bring anything else in the building up to code for this to be residential now?
In short summary, yes, through the change of occupancy to a residential use. So by requiring that the applicants come into standard with their change of occupancy, yes, they will have to meet all different fire and building requirements.
Yeah, the biggest thing for this structure will actually be the egress out of the bedroom, that they'll have to put in a egress window, that's required for residential. And so there, you can see the bottom of there, they have a window that shows the size it will be, and that will be reviewed under the plan review, when they apply for their change of occupancy.
So on this one, it looks like the applicant owns lots 1 through 8, and I guess lots 7 and 8 further east.
Yes, 5 and 6 hold the home, let me see, home potentially upon your approval. The 2 lots next door, that is a parking lot.
Okay.
So this is for 5 and 6.
And where's the ministry in general?
This big, it kind of looks like concrete, but this is the big massive building immediately to the left. That is where they house the religious services. This current building is being used, from what I understand, for small group and Bible study.
Okay.
So, right there, you said maximum of 2 residential units allowed. From their floor plan, it looks like they're just doing 1 with 1 big bedroom. Does that limit the occupancy, or how is that determined?
You are correct that their current floor plan only shows 1 dwelling unit, and our decision was to give them a requirement that we feel mirrors more accurately the surrounding area, even though that's not directly their intention via this concept plan. But yes, if you're asking about their requirement to meet occupancy codes, they would have to come into IRC 2021 building codes in order to receive their approval of change of occupancy.
Okay. Does anyone have any additional questions?
I guess my question, I'm sorry, is their current plan that they've submitted, does that limit them having 1 bedroom like that, since it's kind of transitional housing and stuff? I mean, I don't know how big the building is, but it's a large bedroom. I guess my question is, would it be better to not limit and say that too, so that way they could actually use the space better? Or, you get what I'm saying?
Well, really what we're doing here is going from a commercial occupancy to a residential occupancy. What we're doing through the conditional use is allowing household living and saying, and based on their application to us, they have 2 applicants that they want to house there and no more. They really want to do it for a short period of time until they get their other facility done. And so we're just trying to meet what their needs are at the moment. Depending on what they're wanting to do with this structure in the future, I think it would take a good pre-development meeting to listen to fire marshal, building permits, and others to understand if they were to start adding more bedrooms and what egress would look like, and does that change it from a household living to a higher residential category, which may have other impacts. But for them to satisfy their needs today, we thought this was the best way to go for today.
And with this being a conditional use, is it have an expiration date? Or like if the church decides to sell, is it transferred to the new owner, even if it's not a church?
Correct.
Like, how does this work?
If they meet all the conditions, it doesn't expire. If they don't meet the conditions, it does. But a conditional use, just like a short-term rental is a conditional use in certain zoning districts, it does stay with the property. It is similar to a zoning thing that stays with the property.
Can we put a time limit on that conditional use?
You can make that as a condition, yes.
The only thing that,
It is challenging for staff to keep up with that, but yes, as well as it being transferred, say, in a sale of something necessarily. But yes, that can be done.
okay. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you. On that note, we'll open it for public comment.
There is nobody signed up.
Okay. Close public comment and open up for discussion or a motion.
I would like to put a time limit on it, because I guess, I don't think that they're gonna sell. I don't know the applicant or anything, but I just don't think that it should be open-ended
Yeah. And I
in
mean,
this structure.
yeah, because, we've heard some other cases come up recently within, other areas in San Angelo that were for transitional housing, for people that were getting out of either rehab facilities or other situations. And, again, if the church down the road decided to sell that, what is that going to do for the neighborhood? So I think that we do need to kind of keep that into consideration and not opposing future use, but I just think it's something that needs to get reanalyzed. So.
Apologies, just to clarify, the applicants are here. If you have specific questions for them, from what I've seen, they might be, actually. They may not be. But also in discussion, their intention is to obtain a temporary change of occupancy that will revert back to a commercial use after 6 months of its approval, in which case the intent of the conditions as they currently stand would be that the conditional use remains, but it continues to have to be recoupled with new changes of occupancy to bring it up to code every time. And they have asked for that temporary change of occupancy to be 6 months. So their current intent, as stated to me and through their concept plan and build permit, is to receive approval of a temporary change of occupancy for 6 months, which will then revert back to commercial.
Okay. Interesting.
None of my business, but I feel like it should be a year. 6 months goes by really fast, especially when you're talking about transitional housing and everything with floods that have happened and whatnot, but
I guess I
that's
don't.
just my comment.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other thoughts or questions, discussion points? If not,
I just have a question. I guess I don't understand why we would put a time limit on the conditional use. So maybe someone should enlighten me as to why we would do that.
I like a time limit.
Well, I think because if it sells, sorry, if it sells, and maybe correct me wrong, if they were to sell that specific part of the property, then the new owners would have the same ability with it being in place.
I just feel like if it's going to be a long-term housing, you should have to go through, I hate to say more regulations, but I feel like you need to go and, like Aaron said, you need to do a pre-development meeting if it's going to be long-term. That's the only reason for saying a time. But if the change of occupancy is 6 months and that's what they're asking for, I don't think that we have to.
I say, under the building code, the longest a temporary change of occupancy can be is 6 months, I believe. And so I think that's why they chose that timeline. Doesn't mean that they may not request it to be extended. But I see y'all's concerns. And Arden, could you go to the zoning map that you have on there? And you can see it's adjacent to the RS2 family neighborhood. While we don't see the Chadburn corridor significantly changing in the next 10 to 20 years, we know this church is a very old building. It was built in the 50s. If you were to drive by it, it's got those scalloped awning that faces the alleyway. And I think they're a very good program. But I think this area might be in transition. We also know that our housing study is looking to house folks in general commercial areas. But again, I believe there's building codes that help regulate the structures and things like that. With their request, trying to house a couple of folks, maybe from their congregation that are getting ready to get their houses rebuilt. From a staff standpoint, it seems reasonable to find those accommodations. But we also do share what if it stays residential for the rest of its life? Is that really problematic, or is it not under the conditional use, allowing household living? And so that has been kind of a question in our mind. They've kind of satisfied saying, hey, we're only doing this for 6 months, and when the change of occupancy expires. But if that is the desire through the motion to put a time limit, we'd ask it to be specific, whether that be 1 year, 2 years, something like that.
So if the property were sold and whomever purchased this property and was abusing the conditional use somehow, I mean, it's conditional, so there's the ability to revoke that conditional use,
That is correct. We would follow our standard zoning compliance issues, just like we would with any zoning property. They would work through code enforcement. If it's very egregious, we could come forward with ask to revoke that conditional use here through planning commission, just like we could do that with a short-term rental or other conditional uses. So there are some protections there for the neighborhood. We obviously would need some neighborhood participation at that point to tell us kind of what's going on, because city staff just doesn't go out looking for, well, are they in compliance today?
Right.
So we just want to be aware of those things, but thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, any other thoughts or questions, discussion points? Or if anyone wants to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Shane, second by Liz, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7-0. Shane, this case is up to you. I need to recuse myself.
I gotta figure out where we were. Okay. So item number 2, CU 25-20, 1905 Beatty Road, Single Member District Number 1, a request for a conditional use to allow a short-term rental located at 1905 Beatty Road.
And there we go. Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. This is a request for a conditional use for a short-term rental. It is at 1905 Beatty Road. It is in the Country Club neighborhood, District 1, Tommy Hebert. The current zoning is RS1, single-family residential. It is a vision plan of neighborhood. We mailed 10 notices. We have received one in favor. We actually have received another opposition that I printed out and put along your seat. So there's 2 opposed. The zoning on the left is single-family residential. The vision on the right is neighborhood. This is a picture of, they do have paved parking. So with a short-term rental, you do have to get a safety inspection, which they did get and they did pass. You have to have 2 paved parking spots. And I believe that is it. And there has to be not 500 foot, another one within 500 foot, and you cannot be within 500 foot of a school. And they meet all those criteria. So with that, staff is recommending approval with the condition that they follow section 406 and 804 of the zoning ordinance.
Is this a new conditional use, or has it been a short-term rental in the past?
It is a new one.
Okay.
I believe it was recently built. They received a zoning variance for front yard setback because the lot is so small. And also the lot size. The lot width is smaller than the normal RS1.
Does it meet the setback requirements on either side?
There's 5 foot on each side,
There's no variance for that?
not for the side setbacks.
Could you pull up the image again, just so they have that, or
Of this one or the overhead one?
maybe an overhead might be helpful.
There's nothing on that. Yeah.
Do we know how many bedrooms this unit is?
Do not know that.
I think it's a 3-2. Maybe I just made that up.
I do know it's listed for sale at the moment. It's a 3-3.
3-3.
Okay. So it is on the market?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the applicant here today?
Yes.
Okay. Now we open it for public comment.
Lisa, do you want to go first, or you want everybody else to go first? Okay. Lisa can.
Lisa Cannon, I work for Clearview Custom Homes. We built this beautiful and unique home. It's rammed earth on the bottom, so it's very energy efficient. It is 3-bedroom, 3-bath. We are asking for the short-term rental. I know some of the opposition is going to be parking, but we cover that. We do have the 2 paid parking, and there's actually space. That's the crushed granite. If you go back to the other picture, you can kind of see where the sign is, that there's actually 3 parking that is completely out of everybody's way. So that's not any worse than any other of them. Sorry, alarms. this went for a really long meeting. So do y'all have questions for me before I go with my little notes?
Are you planning on operating it as a short-term rental, or your plans to sell it?
The current plan is to operate as an STR, but it is on the market for sale. So
Gotcha.
both. We have plenty of us as like operators as far as enforcement goes. We all live very close, like I'm out and about all the time, so enforcement's not an issue. I don't care if it's 2:00 in the morning, they can call me. There's at least 10 other STRs that surround the lake all the way around. We'd of course abide by all the, section 406, 804. I've learned a lot about this in this process. So lots of codes, lots of enforcement things that protect the neighbors. I do know somebody asked earlier who has lived next to one, but who has stayed in one? Who's ever used an Airbnb, that kind of thing? And I'm sure you didn't trash it. I'm sure you didn't, weren't the worst people that have ever lived next door to somebody.
How long has it been on the market, Lisa?
It was parade of last year, so April, May.
And y'all haven't currently rented it as a short-term or anything like that?
Not short-term,
Okay.
no.
Gotcha. I think we're good. Ray, do you have any other public comment?
We have more. I do want to make sure the board knows that if this was to get approved today, renewals start, they have to have an application in April 15th for the renewal process to be done by June 1st. So there is, I'm going to say about 2 months worth of phone calls, complaints that it'll give them the opportunity to show 2 months worth. But it is open for renewal April 15th.
And so just for my knowledge, that's every STR. So
Correct.
regardless
Yes.
of
Yep.
when
All
your
of them.
conditional use is approved, it's April 15th.
for
Okay.
everybody.
So plan for the whole day. Bring lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for me now?
So then Daniel Valenzuela.
I am Daniel Valenzuela. I am single member District 1 and definitely want to talk about this property. I hope y'all had a chance to drive by there and take a look at it. It's a rather small property. It's a tiny property, actually. I was actually here before you guys when they're trying to get that variance for the setback. I was in favor of it. It was, from my understanding, it was going to be a RS1. It was sold. It was going to be sold to a family. And I am in strong support of that. The size of this property, this lot, is slightly above a tenth of an acre. That's it. It is tiny. Yes, the setbacks are as required, the minimum 5-foot setback on the sides. My concern is the size of it. The parking, yes, they do have a concrete space for 2 parking spots and then a crushed rock for another slot. But in this area, there is no curb gutter. The roadway here is actually rather thin. You have a turn on the top where we have Angelo State University has their lake house area where the kids go out there and have a good time. One thing that we've experienced from this lot, and even before the current owner, the previous owner actually allowed people to go there and kind of hang out and have a good time. And my wife and I experienced this, that even without a house there, the cars parked pretty much everywhere. Without curb and gutter, they'll park in front of your house. You have to go out there and tell them to please move their cars. And it's not because they're on the street, it's because they're actually on your property. With that size of a property, can you imagine? I mean, we have one window next to their window. Our house is right next to theirs. Ours has a 5-foot setback on this, so it's 10 feet apart. The noise that we've already experienced, even with the previous, before the house was built there, it is something, quite frankly, to behold. It gets really loud, really crazy. And the way I look at it at this point, this is not your regular STR she mentioned a while ago. And there may be 10 around the lake in that area, but this has got to be the smallest lot of all of them. You have a 5-foot setback on either side. We have an owner on the other side of their property as well. And that's one of my bigger concerns is that we bought our house in a residential area as an investment to retire in. We plan to retire in that house. And regardless, I mean, the concern for me is that we bought a house which we live in. These individuals aren't going to live there. They're there to party. It's the lake. They're going to have loud music. There's no doubt about that. Right next to our house, there's no way to avoid that. Susanna and I would sit on our dock at times, and people would be on their dock yelling at us, drinking, yelling profanities, and we just leave. We'd go back inside the house. We don't want to experience that. We're very respectful out there. Regardless, I know that's my 3 minutes. Just some major concerns in the size of it. And again, thank you for listening to me. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Daniel.
Susanna Valenzuela?
Good morning, Susanna Valenzuela, Single Member District 1. Thank you all for y'all's service. I know this is probably not very thankful work. But as my husband mentioned, the parking is one of the major situations. They've blocked our mailbox several times. They had the house on Parade of Homes, and I had to go over many times and ask them, please tell them not to park on our property. There's just not enough room for parking. And I'm personally concerned about the dam and like the people that would be able to have access to that, that may be wanting to get familiar with it and do some harm to our city. I constantly see people out there, and I'm a license plate picture taker. We have people that dump animals and junk and all kinds of stuff, and I just think that's unsafe for people to have access, long-term access to that area. And as my husband mentioned, the previous owner of the lot actually built a staircase, which is not in the 5 foot, and we never said anything. But we had one of the dogs come over from the other property because that staircase is like right next to our property on the lakeside. So there's just really nothing they can do. It's like the gentleman said, like once you guys give them the permission, like they can do whatever they want. And my concern is I am all for this community economic development. I was in the tourism industry for 10 years. We have 80,000 hotel rooms every month in this community. And I promise you, they are not taken. It's a 60% if we're lucky that they're booked. And in downtown, $89.99. On the other parts of town, $99, $109. Unless it's rodeo, then, maybe $200. So it's very affordable for the hotel rooms. And as I said, I have been very involved in the economic development part in tourism, and I want to see that thrive. But when do we start sacrificing? We say we're wanting quality of life for our citizens. So when do we start sacrificing that for this? Because yes, we want affordable housing, but why does that mean we have to have, every home has to be open to STR? As my husband said, we have invested in this property. I think that lot was actually connected to ours and they separated, but it is very, very small. And I don't really see a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, how can you just have 2 cars? You're gonna bring like your whole family, it's gonna be a ton of vehicles. And so I actually saw a comment about you guys on Facebook, and I wasn't looking for it. I was just like scrolling, and somebody said, everybody opposed this STR, and it was still approved. So I hope that y'all will hear our concerns and really think about this because it is important for citizens to be able to enjoy their homes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark and Kathy Murphy?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
I have 3 more votes here that oppose. I wanted to hand deliver them.
Thank you.
Did y'all, she said that you were, no.
I wanted to hand deliver them because they have those pictures. Because when this, a lot came up before this planning commission 2 years ago, and it received the variance to build an over 3,000 square foot home on this tiny, tiny lot. And we all opposed it, except for Daniel at the time. But we all opposed it, and I feel like our concerns were not heard then. And so I wanted to make sure that we were heard this time. We included 3 pictures here, I believe. If you'll pass those out, Kathy. Do y'all have those pictures? And that first picture is from our back bedroom office area, and you can see what the privacy concerns are there, that it's no privacy at all. And obviously, there's no security, no safety. You can see the small chain link fence that's there. So there are security concerns and there are privacy concerns along with safety concerns. The second picture there, again, shows the parking issue. The property in question has no garage. It has no carport. It has no private driveway. All parking is done on the street or city property. Our property driveway is right by the property line. Multiple times we've had people park in our driveway because there's just not ample parking at this place. The third picture, or third page there, shows where the real estate sign has been blown into the lake from their dock. It's been floating around the lake for about 8 months now. The homeowners don't care, haven't picked it up or anything. It also shows, I believe you can see, going back to the picture of the parking, you can see where they had put a little bit of asphalt in front of their concrete, but did not asphalt any of the other area that was torn up during the construction. They could care less about the neighborhood, care less about the lake environment. We totally oppose this, and we ask for y'all's opposal to this also.
And then I would also like to add the last pictures. I'm actually a first responder.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry, the last page, I'm actually a first responder as well. And if you were to look at this house, if anything was to happen inside the house and a person has a disability, or even if our first responders have to respond, there's only one way into this home, which would be the front door. To the right, if you see, there's a 3-foot concrete wall that you would not be able to get a gurney or a stretcher down to safely transport somebody. And then it also just shows that one little doorway. You cannot get a gurney through the doorway to the back side of this property. And then there's also the power lines issue that's right in front of those black bars that's in the windows, which I know that was put up there to protect it. And then also another safety is we have our ASU students that are over there. And so we do have, a lot of students. And so we also have to deal with those students and worry about them driving in this very small road. And then along with the short-term rentals that are not familiar with the area as well.
Just like to also reiterate what Daniel said concerning the noise. We're right by the dam. Everything echoes. And so the noise is a huge problem there at that section of the lake.
Thank y'all for your comment.
That is it for public comment.
I do want to clarify, it's not 3,000 square feet. It's 2244.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to close public comment and open it up for comments from the committee here. Man, I get it. I get the frustration. The problem that I have is a lot of y'all's worries, like parking, in my opinion, is going to be worse with a long-term tenant. A 3-bedroom home, you're going to have kids, there's no garage. That's my thought, is like the parking situation I feel like is always going to be a problem. But
I just want to say, I agree with that. We brought that up at the initial, but it was never addressed properly then.
Right.
The comments that I would like to make is that in the past, maybe a year or 2 or so ago, my memory is because of a very, very, very small lot on a curve, kind of like this is, and the lot was skinny, we denied the STR because of the parking, because of the street line, because of the curbing, or not curbing in this case, because of the size of the lot, not the size of the house, but because of how and this was at Nasworthy on another street, it just makes it really difficult to have such a small lot with in and out renters, in and out, not knowing with 3 bedrooms how many cars, and that it encroaches because there's no curbing on other people's land and lots. But I also noticed that in some of the pictures that the Murphys gave. I noticed how the signs are out in the lake water. I don't know what that means, actually, but it sounds like someone's not taking care of business right now. And if that's an indication of what's to come, then that's a concern for me. I don't like the small lot having the closeness to the neighbors without having some type of ability for there to be privacy, and I don't see that in this one.
I have a question, or maybe for the owner. You said the house is currently on for sale? Yes. Is it under contract, and one of the limitations of the contract is to turn it into an STR? Not currently, no. Is that the goal? Is there? No, not necessarily. Okay. So part of the thing about
Could you come to the mic,
Sorry,
please?
do you mind coming up here? Again, I'm hard of hearing.
Sorry, I'm slacking, guys.
Okay. All 3 bedrooms are upstairs. That's part of the reason it's been on the market so long. But we think that's so a retiree type is not going to necessarily want to move in. Honestly, back to the parking's going to be worse with a family of 4 because it's probably going to end up a middle class with teenagers, not going to be a starter and not going to be a retiree. So the parking isn't really an anti-STR situation. The lot is there, the house is there. If you have 3 bedrooms and you have 2 adults and 2 teenagers, you're going to have 4 cars. So to me, the parking is really not an STR point against it, because that's going to be part of it. But no, that's like it's not under contract with that stipulation. That's not any part of any of it.
Thank you.
May I pose, please, since you've asked?
Come on.
I know I had my 3 minutes, but I don't believe that for one bit. Parking for a 3-bedroom, you'll have 2 or 3 cars out there. That's great. 4 cars, that's fine. But we've seen 20, 30, 40, 50 cars. That's a huge difference. So it's not true that it's going to be less of a nuisance, for a family that moves in. It really is. It's a lake. People are going there to party. 3 bedrooms, that's going to be at least 3 couples. Then downstairs, the sofa, people can sleep down there. There's going to be plenty of room for parking, and for a lot of people, not enough room for parking, but a lot of people parked out there. So I really don't believe that. I just wanted to correct that. And my apologies, because I really don't want to go over the 3-minute limit. So.
Can you clarify, Mr. Venezuela? Y'all are, you've seen a lot of cars and whatnot. Have y'all seen it actively used as a short-term rental, or is it just the parade of homes that was previously mentioned, or?
No. Just parties that have been had there, so those are the things that we've seen. And again, we know that people, God bless them, they want to go and kind of release energy and everything else. Like I said, my wife and I have been sitting on a dock where we've had people out there yelling at us and wanted to say hi to us. And of course, I wave at them and everything, but they're yelling profanities. They're pretty loud and obnoxious. And not everyone's going to be that way. We get that. But the parking situation is going to be really terrible, especially if you see that turn in that area, how small that lot is. And kids going through there from ASU when they finish their get-together, if there's cars parked on either side of the roadway as well, that becomes an accident waiting to happen. We've seen kids do U-turns without looking. I almost hit one of them. But again, that's just our biggest concern. And I did write a letter. Please take that letter into deep consideration, because everything I put in there are very legitimate concerns. So again, thank you for your
So
time.
the property is currently occupied?
It is currently occupied right now. There's at least a couple of individuals staying there right now.
I'll just say, I've generally been supportive of STRs, and I think that there's a lot of value in improving, I guess, the availability and the marketability of a property, especially around a recreational area like the lake. But in this particular case, to me, when the house was built, we granted some variances to allow a house of this size to fit on such a small lot. And so that's really where I'm struggling one, we allowed this house to be placed on a lot that otherwise it wouldn't have been able to fit on. But then also opening up additional traffic to it by allowing an STR to go on the slot. I think it's just a unique lot and size and location, and I just don't know that I can support it.
I kind of want to reiterate exactly what you just said, Luke. And Lisa, I can appreciate yes, I've rented multiple VRBOs and they're fantastic. But I also want to put myself in the shoes of these homeowners who live right next door to this property. There is no buffer. There is, and these people are there 365 days a year and for hopefully through retirement. So I also generally support STRs, but I can definitely see the problem that it could pose. And I just, I want to take those of you who have stepped forward and raised concerns, I definitely take that to heart and can see the issues that you have with this.
I guess my comment is it's going to go before us again in 2 months, 3 months
No. So
for a renewal.
the
correct?
renewal process, if there are not enough complaints or if there are certain criteria that if they meet all of that, then it automatically gets renewed. It does not come before here. But if there are multiple complaints or anything, yes, it will come.
And complaints, just for the public, that's police calls, that's the neighbors calling and complaining, that's what is the ratio for, or how many has to happen?
It is the severity, the number, and the disposition of the citations. So
Okay.
we didn't specify a number.
So it's kind of up for interpretation. It's going to be an expensive rental if it was a short-term rental. I mean, I don't know what the price per night is, but I mean, I don't know.
When we started talking about short-term rentals for the city years ago, I was on a task force to talk about and what would be some of the criterias and things like this. In those discussions, it was always about San Angelo having the ability to have such things as short-term rentals because there's a need for that. We have a lake. This is good. We have Angelo State where some of the parents want to come and spend a couple of days with their kids or things like that. Nothing wrong with a short-term rental at all, and it has some good criteria. We've built in good reasons why and the things they have to do, and we've seen many of them be very, very well done. It's not that this one couldn't be a very well-organized property as the home goes. I still have a problem, though, with the size of the lot, the proximity to the neighbors on each side, the windows that can look into each other's, and then the lake being right there in that little bitty area with what would be not the regular owner, people who don't know our area well and they have parties or whatever. Those are concerns. I don't want to wait for major complaints to happen. I think that we've already had an opportunity to deny a short-term rental on a very, very similar Lake Nasworthy lot, and I'm going to stay on the side of that with that thinking.
Any other comment or motion?
Well, I'll make a motion to deny the short-term rental application.
I will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
So 6-1.
Motion passes 6-1.
No, 5-1.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we lost one. My bad.
Thank you, Shane, for leading that one. Okay, and that was denied. Was it 6-0?
5-1.
5-1. Okay.
None of us can count. It's okay.
What'd you say?
Okay. So moving on to our next case, CU 25-21, lots 12 and 13 in block 43 of Fairview Edition, SMD number 3. A request for approval of the conditional use for household living in the light manufacturer zoning district for a property located on lots 12 and 13 in block 43 of Fairview Edition.
Good morning. This is Arden, planner. Today we've got this case from the Pauland neighborhood, Harry Thomas's district. Oh, goodness. Sorry, the zoning is in fact light manufacturing, please disregard. And this is a request for approval of household living in this zoning district. Let me show our notices that we sent out. I actually think we have not yet received any in favor or in opposition to this case. I actually think I received an in favor at my desk this morning. So one in favor with nothing cited for one of the unaddressed lots to the west. So we have got a request to place a single-family home crossing the boundaries between lots 12 and 13, unaddressed lots within this subdivision, and the surrounding area is predominantly residential. The owner is looking to abide by current restrictions such as floodplain, setting the house back, and receiving a lot unity agreement. So that way the building itself is in conformance with standard single-family residential codes. If we look at this area, the zoning is, as we mentioned, light manufacturing with an industrial vision plan. But I hope right next door, yes, I included an additional more zoomed out photograph to kind of take a look at the big picture here. So we've got an applicant hoping to build a single family home. The surrounding area across this entire block is residential use. So we've got existing homes there with legal non-conforming status. These are homes that have been there in the area. And when we zoom out and we look big picture, we see that over to the east, we have single family residential across the commercial corridor. We've also got things to the south. We've got two family to the west. And then the industrial uses kind of continue up to the north across the Houston Hart Expressway. So whenever we received this application for a homeowner to build a home, we took a larger look at the area and understood that this would be a good place to revisit with a rezoning, because whenever the city staff came in with a zoning ordinance and we established this to be an industrial use, the city has developed in a different way. And we believe that moving forward, it would make more sense to structure this land for residential use with a rezoning and create a buffer with the Houston Hart Freeway for those industrial uses. That way it's not directly abutting all of these residential developments. In further support of this, whenever we were researching this case, we saw that the lot itself, one of the lots requesting this household living, has a special use for a residential mobile home. So there already is residential use allowed on that lot from 1987. We foresee this area having developed more residential and continuing to do so, and we see a lot of merit to granting this household living conditional use in the interim of that, so long as they satisfy residential standards. So, as we mentioned over here, we've got this concept plan. Because it crosses lots, because there's floodplain in the area, we ask that they abide by single-family residential zoning standards, such as their setbacks, such as fire hydrant access, such as lot unity agreement for building over property lines, so that they are better serviced when we look for rezoning in the future. Here is a photo of the site whenever we went out to put out signs. We can see standing currently in light manufacturing zoning districts, we have certain requirements about privacy fencing and buffering and allowed uses, right? So this kind of indicates to us a need to require single-family residential standards, such as 4-foot privacy fences within your front yard setback, such that when we come back for rezoning, we're not perpetuating any nonconformities. So with all of this in mind, staff does recommend approval of a conditional use for household living at this zoning district, subject to 4 conditions of approval. We ask that the applicant conforms to single-family residential standards, including the privacy fence that currently exists along the front street. We ask that they receive a lot unity agreement to join the 2 lots that they are developing on, 12 and 13. We ask that they receive all required permits, including any development that occurs within the 100-year floodplain, and that they return within 3 months to revoke that special use for residential living, so that way they do not have a house, a single-family residence alongside that special use permit for their mobile home. Are there any questions for staff?
On the 3 month, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
On the 3 months, as a recommendation, is that giving them 3 months to build the home?
No, this is 3 months to submit a new application to revoke the
Oh, I
special
see.
use, which
Okay.
would then go before
Thank you.
City Council.
So my question is, why are we doing a conditional use and why didn't staff look at an overall picture to rezone? Because that area is very interesting and it really has not been developed. There is a lot of homes over there. There's some kind of rundown homes. I mean, it has a lot of opportunity, but like I've looked at a lot of lots over there, but you can't do anything. They're too small for manufacturing,
Right.
and it's kind of a pain to do residential. So I guess my question would be, why didn't we talk to other neighbors and look
Right.
at it as an overall?
I think that staff's understanding here is that while the big picture is that a rezoning would be useful, we have a homeowner requesting to develop now, and this is a 1-month process as opposed to a zoning and comprehensive plan amendment, which then goes here and then to City Council for 2 readings. So while we do intend to revisit this, especially with the onset of our comprehensive plan amendment that we're moving forward, we thought that this would be a good solution to serve the community that we have now while also looking big picture.
Gotcha.
So if the staff decides to look at the area and do an entire rezoning of the area, what happens to their 3-month on the special use for the mobile home? Go back to the return to 3 months for the revocation of the special use permit. Like, let's say we did a rezoning, does that automatically terminate for them, the return to 3 months, or probably not explaining that well enough?
It does not. So a special use is not really a zoning, it is a special use. So they would still be required to come forward.
But if it's rezoned, the special use would be affected.
No.
The special use it doesn't matter what the zoning is, it is a special use for something specific. So it is allowed a mobile home no matter what the zoning is.
Got it.
Right, so just like conditional uses, you have to specifically revoke that.
Correct.
And special permits have a council requirement, where conditional use just has a planning commission requirement. Now, if we're able to, if the caseload is light enough and we can move forward with the proper analysis to evaluate that area, we might be able to do that for them. We just don't know that we can get that accomplished, just depending on what our caseload is for staff.
And again, maybe a dumb question, but why give them 3 months if they're applying for single family? Why not just say, we'll give you the single family, but we're also going to remove the mobile home special use at the same
That was
time?
my exact question, too.
Yeah.
It takes time for us to now put together a case to go to city council, and it wouldn't allow them to move forward with starting their foundation, starting their utilities, things like that. And what it is it's actually a lot that they're not building on, where the manufactured home could be. That's just one of the conditions that they come forward, because I don't believe we think this area is going to be manufactured homes in the future. That special use has been there for a few decades, if not longer, and it hasn't been used, but we're just trying to be thoughtful of their timeline and try to move it forward as quickly as we can as well.
Okay.
I also clarify right now in this moment, we do have the home builder here if you have specific questions for them as well, and the homeowners. But are there more specific questions for staff?
No? Okay, all right. So open up public comment.
Yeah, as of right now, there is no mobile home on there. There's no plan of putting a mobile home on there. There was permission, I guess, that was asked, that I guess before we even thought of it, we haven't even thought about a mobile home. The property's been in the family since 1970, so all those properties been there. There is a mobile home next to us that's been there forever, and there's another house on the right side of us. There is development right a block away, there is new development. All right, there's Taco Bell, and then right behind Taco Bell, they put about 5 new houses right there at that side as well. I had no idea it was a commercial until we started going around, because there's a house right next to us where we're building. And the only thing that we're trying to do is, since the 2 lots are together, instead of splitting them up, that's what they're asking, I guess, to put it all because the house is bigger than 50 foot, and the lot is only 50 foot. Or I wouldn't have 5 foot on this side, 5 foot on this side. So since we have a lot of 50 foot, a lot of 50 foot, what we're asking is permission for all of it. That way I can move my house over, put my driveway there, and have enough room to get everything done.
Okay. And as far as, because it looks like you've got the pad down currently?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you guys talk to anyone as far as it being in the floodway or floodplain?
Yes, ma'am. We did bring it up, and it shows, I have the picture, and I should have brought the picture in. But the pictures of when the flood hit, it didn't even hit the neighbors. It is on the flood zone on the map. It probably is going to hit right there on your right-hand corner on your picture of the flood zone. On the pictures over when they did the Texas, I guess the San Angelo zoom in, and they showed all the water coming in, it never even hit the neighbors. But on the green map that y'all have, it does show that.
Right.
So they said we have to be 30 feet, and that's what we were complying, 30, I think we went 40 feet back or 30 feet back.
Okay, so it has been moved since then, because you do actually need to follow the flood base
Yes, ma'am.
map, not just, the photos from our previous flood, because, those are within 100 years, so it might not have hit this one, but it could in the future. So as far as the homeowners insurance and other requirements that the city and the floodplain people may have, so.
Yeah, through the residential application process, this was flagged to be sent over to our engineering services, and so they've been aware of it. And I think they've either talked to the property owner or the builder himself to determine where that location could be.
Okay, perfect. As long as we're aware of that, and we haven't started any more construction. So.
No, and the only reason I put pad down was because the longer it sits, the harder it gets. And if we're still putting another pad over that one. It was just there to get we scraped some of the land out and then threw some pad on top, and then we wait, and that's when we came, she's like, oh, we are in a flood zone. I said, it's nothing that could be moved back or nothing, it's, yeah.
Perfect, as long as you're aware of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here today. All right, on that note, we'll close public comment and open up for discussion or motion.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Liz, second by Shane. All in favor? Aye. So 7-0. All right, our last conditional use for the day is CU 25-22, located at 3531 Lutheran Way, which is SMD number 1. Request for conditional use to allow high-rise multifamily residence in the general and heavy commercial zoning district located at 3531 Lutheran Way.
So the applicant has come forward and requested to withdraw this case.
Okay. All right, well, that ended conditional uses. Okay, so on that note, Aaron?
All right, I'll be very quick. We have had our 9 submissions for our comprehensive plan. We have narrowed that down to 3 finalists, and so we're doing that final review in the next week or 2, and should be able to bring forward soon to City Council the finalist for our comprehensive plan revision and a contract, and get that started. We're hoping to do that in March, and so that we get started in April. Both of our subcommittees with housing and subdivision are still working very hard to allow some of that flexibility in our ordinances and try to address some affordability. I believe coming up later this month, we'll have some red lines out of our ordinance for you to look at. And then we're projecting to have a joint meeting at some time, either April or early May, with our city council so that we can discuss those and get those moving forward. And tomorrow at City Council, there will be a disaster declaration that will be an extension, if you will, for our July the 4th floods. We have started to have some more volunteer groups come through that need to rebuild homes. And if it were to expire, it would require through our ordinances for them to come up to compliance on some subdivision items, some development items. And we are going to be asking as a development team to come back with a waiver of some of those items. That will come back on February the 17th. But we would, basically, all because you have to demo your house due to the flood, we don't want to add additional requirements. It's not like it's brand-new development. That would be different with brand-new development. But we wanted to mention that here, just so the citizens that are watching and listening, that they understand that we are still trying to work with our July the 4th flood victims. We are going to move forward with some additional relief of requirements so that they can continue to move and have those volunteer groups come and rebuild or repair their homes. With that, I don't have anything else.
I would like to add two things real quick. One, all the zoning cases that were heard here today are going to city council on the 17th, which is an evening meeting. So it'll start at 5:30 rather than 8:30. I did want to make sure the public knew that. And then also want to introduce our new planning tech, Daniel, back there. You'll be seeing him a little bit more. So
Perfect. Welcome. All right. And then the next regular meeting of the Planning Commission is going to be scheduled on Monday, February 23rd. We're a week later this year due to President's Day being on the 16th. It will be held here at 9 a.m. in the East Mezzanine in City Hall at 72 West College Avenue. And at that moment, I'll ask for a vote to adjourn.
Second.
All right. We've got a first from Lyndon, second from Luke. All in favor? Aye. All right. Meeting adjourned.
11:16.